GM, hello. Welcome back for another week of Tiny's Universe. I've got my little one popping in on me. That's unexpected. Um, Evan, sorry, I lost my train of thought here. What are you doing?
Oh, cookie.
You want to talk about Macroverse? Get that out of your mouth. Um,
This is where we say keep vamping.
So, take it off. What you got to say? All right. So, anyway, lots going on again, as usual. This one's got to go to bed, but we've got a lot to talk about. We've got more Drip House. We've got a second child walking in. We've got all sorts of fun stuff. Art contests. Wow, this is fantastic. I don't even know right now. The whole family's here for this evening.
All right, I'm gonna pop myself in then. Hello. Hello. This is literally Tiny's universe. You have
Wow.
Tiny's actual universe, Tiny's virtual universe.
I was just saying they know what they're doing to me, and they absolutely love every second of it. So it's all right. It's okay.
That's all right. No, welcome. The more the merrier. We're it's a it's a full crew. So I'm Evan Matthews, co-founder, CEO at Macroverse. This is Tiny Universe, who is one of the people that helps run and interacts with our community and helps make sure that people know the right things at the right times. Also has become one of the writers in our community anthologies and just a phenomenal member of the community all around. So I am perfectly happy to have the whole family here, but I'm going to take them off for just a second as we dive into some things that we're going to talk about tonight. So we're going to talk about our mobile app for a couple minutes and some updates that are coming there. I'm going to bring Tiny back in now. So talking about the mobile app and some updates coming in there. We've got some exciting things happening on Drip House, including the launch of this current next DMC drop, which went live today, and a flash auction happening on Drip House as part of this DMC drop, coming up in about 20 minutes, which we're going to do live on the stream as well. So, a little context.
One, unfortunately, tonight, but
oh no, that's all good.
Is there a reserve on it? Is there like a starting?
Yeah, so let me explain flash auctions for a second for anyone that doesn't know. So first of all, Drip House is a platform on Solana. I think it's the first true kind of mainstream consumer app in kind of the Web3 crypto on-chain world. It's very much organized around the ethos that we've had for years around bringing collectible things, digital collectible things kind of into a world and mentality that makes sense with the way that collectibles work in the real world. It's also a platform that supports artists very directly. And I am very bullish on the platform for us as Macroverse, for our partners and creators, but for everyone that's on there right now. I think it's I genuinely think there's a inflection point moment happening with Drip House that is very aligned with what we've been building, and also just an exciting thing to be a part of, kind of watching it ramp up. So the latest feature to roll out on the platform is called Flash Auctions, and they've got a great integration with another platform called Mallow Art, which is a more traditional kind of NFT marketplace. So you post something, there's usually a 24-hour
bidding period or whatever you set it at,
and then the winner of the auction gets that piece delivered via Drip House. So this is an auction that is integrated into Drip House itself, and so you use droplets, which is the in-app currency, to bid on these auction items. They're instantly delivered once the auction is over, and there's two really unique features about flash auctions. One is they're very short in time, so they're very exciting. They tend to be 5 or 10 minutes. So rather than waiting, 24 hours and in the last few minutes, the bidding really starts to take off for things that people are excited about. These happen very, very quickly. There's 1 minute extensions. So I've watched a few of these over the past couple of days while they've been in beta, and it is pretty exciting. So it's going to be fun to see that happen with our DMC drop here in a short bit. But also the other neat thing about it, which I think is a little bit of an innovation in the auction side of things, is that there's what's called a flash fund as part of it. So I believe it's 1% of every bid goes into the flash fund, and one of the bidders wins that fund at the same time that the person wins the auction. So it's a cool mechanic of saying, like, let's say something sells for, let's say 10,000 droplets. 1,000 droplets goes to someone randomly picked from the people that bid on the auction. So it's a cool way of like playing this game where you get the thing that you want, but you also have a chance of putting some more droplets put back into your pocket to use for other things on DripHouse. So I think it's a really neat mechanic, and we've been seeing people have a lot of fun with it over the last 48 hours as it's been in testing and now just going live today. So again, a couple minutes before 5:30, we'll pop over and watch that live and maybe participate, because I loaded up on droplets beforehand. But
this is new for them.
This is new. So this just literally rolled out today. It's been in beta.
Oh, that's phenomenal.
The last couple of days. Yeah. So.
Well, I know that we've been doing some of the auctions and stuff.
Yeah.
So I didn't realize that, this is, I don't know, to me, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Well, and it's on platform with droplets, which also means it's instant. So like you wouldn't be able to do this on other platforms where you're having to do wallet transactions, because those take time to finalize and sign. So it's a little bit of a way of using the benefit of being on chain after the fact, but the benefit of being off chain for the kind of fun of the auction itself. So
couple questions there. Like what were the previous auctions on?
They run a platform called Mallow.art, which is
okay. So they're the one we were
awesome marketplace. And Mallow, and it's not that this replaces that, it's just that this is another tool on the platform. So there's still going to be certain creators or people that want to do more traditional, like a 24-hour auction, or especially I think I don't see this as something where you're going to see a lot of auctions on DripHouse going for like 20 million droplets. So I think, if you're auctioning something that's going to maybe go for like 10 or 20 or there have been some auctions on DripHouse that have closed at over 100 SOL. And so that's probably not the right place for this as a flash auction like that. Those will tend to, function better in a more traditional auction setting. But I think for a lot of creators, including a lot of the stuff that we're doing, like this makes a lot of sense, and it's just a fun way of engaging. Another fun game to play on.
And I love like the raffle aspect.
Yeah,
where you can get something back, or you have a chance to get something back, essentially, even if you don't win.
Yeah,
win the auction. There was a charity auction in town recently that did like a 50-50 split for all the money they raised, half went to the charity and half went to some just lucky person,
Yeah.
And I was like,
I think that's cool. It's like, it's almost like a thanks for playing.
Oh man. I was like, what, what are the odds, what are the odds of, especially like, I don't know. It's super fun. It just makes it's like, gives you an extra reason to try, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So, very excited about that. And we are, going to be watching the action live, participating for the first time ourselves here in about 15 minutes. So before we jump over to that, I want to talk about our mobile app for a few minutes, because we've got some updates coming down the road, coming down the pipe as far as the mobile app goes. So the biggest news, which I think, Tiny, you'll probably enjoy, and I hope a lot of other people enjoy as well, is that while we're developing some new features and actually a few slightly more significant tweaks to kind of how we're presenting things and what can be done on the app itself, While we're building that out, which is going to take a little bit of time, we just decided let's make everything on the app free for a little while. So right now, literally every single series episode, everything, over
Listen,
1,000 episodes of Macroverse content is now free on our mobile app.
as much as I love that, it's frustrating. I just renewed my annual.
Well, we'll figure out a way to take care of you for that as well. But thank you.
Like 2 days ago. But no, I do love that because listen, the more eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the realness of it to me. I subscribe iPad and Android.
Nice. Thank you.
I can't, because I can't live without either. Like my tablet is iPad and Android is my phone, and I can't tell you, I need the Macroverse app several times a day. So, no, I encourage everybody, to subscribe. Like I said, I'm subscribed twice. That's ridiculous, but I can't get enough. And so that's why anytime there's like a free code or anything free,
yeah,
I absolutely love it because I know people will get hooked.
Well, look, I think that's part of it is, we're building some new stuff. I think some of the things we're going to roll out are going to be really exciting, both for readers and for the creators. We've got some, semi-spoiler alert, we've got some pretty well-known creators that we're going to launch here later this year. We're talking to a bunch of pretty well-known IP, which is going to be a little different, but there's some stuff that we'll have to talk about in that over the next relative short term. But on the way to that, I think exactly what you said, like we just want more and more people to see what we've built, what the series are, the tap story format. And so just taking that barrier away and kind of ramping back up to a little bit of almost a relaunch of the app with this slight change of how we're presenting it and how creators and fans, really a lot of what we're working on is how to directly connect creators and fans more specifically. So, right now the app is really a little more modeled on a traditional kind of streaming service, which was intentional. Like, our initial thesis was that, the all you can eat kind of model, would be something where all boats could kind of rise together. And we did see that, but one of the things, I'll just say this, one of the learnings I think we've taken from our experience on Drip House is, and I see this for myself, both on the creator side and the fan side, is that being able to have a more direct connection to the people that you specifically care about, that you specifically want to follow their work, their journey, and really participate in the things that they are specifically creating and doing. There's more that we can do to help facilitate that connection in the app itself. And so that's a big part of how we're kind of restructuring a few things. Nothing that people like is going away, but we're just adding some new ways of being able to interact with and participate in those things. And so what that will also mean is that if you're a creator on our platform or a creator coming onto our platform, you'll have more tools to be able to also create more of a direct connection with the audience. One of the things I think we found is that, many of our creators really love the app, but also felt like we ended up being kind of an intermediate, and, we'll still have the ability to amplify and kind of, have the catalog experience, but also be able to say, hey, Tiny, you've got your series launching on the app. Here's a way for it to really be about you. Not about Macroverse, but about you, your thing, and we become the amplifier, the umbrella, the kind of infrastructure that helps to make that bigger and more powerful. So I think some of those things, it's going to take us a little while to roll some of that out, and so we just thought in the meantime, let's expose as many people to the virus that Macroverse is away, and try to create some more. But they used to call them Marvel zombies in the old days. We'll be happy to take that name here while we roll out some of these new features.
You know what? I will say though, Macroverse versus Marvel has earned zombies way more. I don't know. Deadtown. I can't
There
think
is
of
that
like,
connection, yes.
super cool zombies from Marvel. I could be wrong, but
There's a Marvel zombie series. That's about as far as it.
it went great. It went great. No one wants to talk about
All
it.
right, if you want to fight Tiny about Marvel zombies, his Twitter.
Oh, God.
That's kind of our big news for this week is just that the app on iOS and Android right now, totally free, all the content. So, I hope you'll dive in and explore a bunch of series that maybe you haven't come across yet. If you've been someone that's been hitting the paywall and haven't made the jump to subscribe yet, perfect time to get in and find your favorite series. We will continue to be rolling out new episodes as well. So, if you find things that you like new stuff is going to continue to come out on the app. And then we'll have some fun announcing some of the ways that we're, kind of rebuilding and building new things into this as well.
I really just don't see how anybody couldn't find something they like.
That is our goal.
with access to the entire app.
Yeah.
I mean, there's absolutely something for everybody.
Yeah. No, there really is. I think the only thing I will caveat by saying is that, our actual kind of kid friendly content is probably the smallest category right now. So I will say,
hey,
if there's
I'll say it's slim, but it's there.
Yeah, there are a few, and there's an all ages category, so that stuff is absolutely safe. But we don't have parental controls at the moment, so that's something that we'll just to make sure people are aware of. There is more. I do like to always compare us to HBO. That yes, there's Studio Ghibli, Totoro is on HBO, but it is sitting right next to Game of Thrones, and you got to make sure that it's the right thing for the right people at the right time. So. We love all that stuff. So that's that. And then, you mentioned the art contest platform. And so this is a creator on another creator on Drip House who goes by Early Art and does amazing work. And tease, hint, maybe something with him coming related to us in the short term as well. But he has a collection called Pixlers, and this is an offshoot of that where it's a very cool idea. It's a voting art platform, and so different artists submit artwork. The community gets to vote on which of those artists are commissioned. I'm not quite sure yet what the cadence of that is, if it's weekly or monthly. This is literally just rolled out also in the last 48 hours.
How long is that the vote open for?
I'm a little short on details, honestly. So it's like he put out a tweet that was like, do any of the Drip House artists want to help me test this first couple of rounds? And I was like, I'm down to test everything. So we're in this first round. But I'm not. So one or two artists, I believe, get commissioned, and then those pieces get raffled off to the community. And so I think it's a cool idea. Helps artists make a little bit more money, and then also give something cool and special back to their community through that process. So total win-win all the way around, and I love that stuff. So you can find retweeted from Macroverse, and I'm pretty sure from my personal account and from Tiny as well. So go.
I'll probably tweet it.
You'll see it
along with the app is free and
yeah, exactly. So yeah, very excited about that. I mean, I think I feel like this is becoming a Drip House show right now for a little while because I am quite excited about what's happening there. We've got some other stuff that we've got planned, which is going to be very exciting coming to Drip House. And then I think the one thing I just want to make sure I say, it's like, we are always looking through the lens of how all these dots connect. So while we're putting a lot of focus and energy on building this, the audience and the things that we're putting out on Drip House and the way that we're kind of building that. And again, I said a bunch of times, part of the attraction there is it just perfectly aligns with our own kind of ethos and mentality around how these things should work. But because they are NFTs, that also means they're composable. And that means we have plans for how that all feeds back into the existing collections, how we bring our existing community and holders along for that ride. Working on a couple things that will make that a little more seamless. So just know that that is part of the thought process and what we're building as well.
Well, and there's so much to the drip house side of things that I've said several weeks in a row, I think. And yeah, I've heard, a very small handful of people that aren't crazy about it. But my thing is, we've tried for years to touch as many people as possible through so many different avenues. And this is by far the easiest, fastest route to get content into people's hands. I mean, and that's not geared necessarily towards any particular outlet. It's not comic fans or Web3 fans or, it could be art fans. It could be, it's everybody on this. And that's to me, the coolest part is definitely put some focus and energy in it because one, it's also, while it may not be millions of dollars, it generates revenue. It puts some money into the artist's pockets. But the biggest thing is, like I said, I've always been a fan of the coupons and the free app and stuff like that. This is essentially doing that. It's taking an episode each week. It's taking a character collection and it's giving it to more people than myself or, Bennett or, anybody that does any kind of outreach. It's just mind blowing how many hands it's touching in such a short amount of time.
Yeah. And also I will say this is there's conversations around NFTs being dead or, there's really not a lot going on, certainly on the ETH side in a lot of ways. And so I think, one of the things that I have found is that, for better or worse, I think in very, very much not necessarily 100% because of Drip House, but Drip House certainly a part of it because of the popularity of it right now. There is just a different perspective on, how NFTs are evolving on Solana and on Drip House particularly. One of the things that I have found, which I think is really cool in the creator group, is that there are a number of artists who had been trying for years to build an audience, to sell work on the different, platforms, through the different auction sites. In some cases having little success, in some cases having no success, and then being able to start to build a collector base and an audience and a connection with the people that are enjoying their work on Drip House. And, I think those things are, it's a vehicle to be able to connect with the people that want to support what you do because they enjoy what you do. And it's the same reason that Kickstarter works. It's the same reason that Patreon works, for creators, finding an audience that, is going to ride or die along with the journey. And in this case, be able to benefit from that a little more directly than, just being able to see what you're making on a Patreon or that kind of thing. So I think there's just there's a familiarity that makes a lot of sense. And then there's a extension to that into the world that I think we're all headed towards, whether we know it or not, which connects those dots very nicely. And speaking of that, this is going to start now in 1 minute. So let's pop over to Drip House. This is the new auction page. You can see it up in the top toolbar here. And I'm going to click into DMC Origins. This is our auction starting here in just a few minutes, 25 seconds. You can see a start.
Oh, cool.
It's a really cool. I love this drop. Every drop we've done with DMC has been awesome. And this is just another great one. So, they're just all hitting so far, both certainly for me and I think for the collectors as well. And all of DMC's team is very excited about this. I think we mentioned before, All right, 5-minute flash auction. Oh, someone right in with 3,500.
Boom.
Boom, boom, boom. Man.
Oh, they're dropping. Look at that.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is the thing. It's like it's pretty fast paced. So I'm going to go and participate in this one and just take it right up to 10,000.
You just hurt someone's feelings.
I mean, I feel like I got to play in my own auction here. It's my first
Yeah.
first time doing it here. So, I will not be sad if I take this one home. So yeah, we got
And the artwork, I gotta really try to get close to see it, but that artwork looks so sick.
It's really cool. Yeah. And one of the things we've done with this, which I like, is they're so using the same function that we've been able to put comics out with. We've been able to kind of say who the collaborator is. Each of these DMC drops is with a different collaborator. They all fall into this DMC verse umbrella. So very fun to be able to play with that. Ooh, man. All right. Boom. So every time someone bids, it also resets the clock for a minute, adds a minute to the clock.
That's super cool too. So then it's not just a 5-minute auction.
Yeah, exactly. So as people come in, it gets more and more and more tense.
It gets way intense. That's awesome.
Oh man,
I'm not even bidding, and I just click, click, click. I need to go buy some droplets. Now
I know. Pretty crazy. Now I want to remind people, this is what I think is amazing, is that I'm not saying it's nothing. I am by no means saying it's nothing, but 50,000 droplets is $5.
I was gonna say, I thought 10,000 was what?
Yeah. So 1,000 droplets is $1.
Yeah.
So it's not nothing, but it's not. So sorry, 1,000 droplets is $1. So 50,000 is $50. So
I was gonna say, I thought 10,000 was $10.
10,000 is $10. You're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
So my bad. So again, not nothing, but not insane. It's not these are $10,000 auctions.
Well, but then it's not like you're paying a $200 gas fee on that.
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. There's no gas fee. There's no needing to go and sign after the fact because you're already logged in. It's just it's a smooth event. Ooh! Somebody came in. Vibu came in with 100,000. Oh boy!
Somebody wants it.
I might. That's actually the Drip CEO, so I might let him have that one.
Is it? Wow.
Yeah. All right, we're down to 1 minute. Let's see if anybody else is gonna dive in here. I was thinking I might go up to 100,000, so I think he's got it. Unless someone else pops in here.
Here we go.
Be
right back.
Yeah, no worries. So yeah, 11 people participating. Ooh, Desanka, very awesome collector on the platform. He is one of the members of our Platinum Record Club. It's got a custom DMC crew. PFP coming from Vanta, which I'm very excited about. He's been a huge supporter of ours and a bunch of other people as well. And on the Macroverse side, we are making Desanka a one-of-one comic featuring one of his characters, one of his PFP characters, which is kind of our super perk on the Macroverse side. So 1 million droplets to Macroverse gets you a unique comic with your own character featured as the protagonist.
What did I miss?
I was just talking about some of the people who are bidding. So these are some of the big collectors and supporters on the platform.
So did it go up?
It went up. We're 137,500 now in the last minute.
So you've actually got they've got you past what you were going to top out at. That's amazing.
They did, yeah. And we're down to 22 seconds. I mean, the big boss is pretty intimidating username here. I think got to decide if you're going to go up against the big boss here in the last 12 seconds. And we're at 10. I'm going to count it down. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4,
Someone's got to go in right now.
2, 1. But they did.
I knew it. I love it.
At literally the last second. I wonder if he was sitting there with his finger on
Probably, but
the
I
trigger.
wonder if he knew that it would add time. It added
No,
time.
they definitely know it's going to add time. That's fun. That was amazing. 1 second to go. I feel like I'm commenting on a basketball game or something.
I know. Well, that's literally like what I feel like. I'm like, I know. Like, I mean, I feel like I'm like watching a comic book or something. This is my life, watching online auctions. I'm like,
I mean, that was the goal, is to make it exciting, and I think if it succeeds, it definitely succeeds.
But I mean, for me, this is even fun.
Back to a minute again. So now we're at 185,000 droplets, 185,000,900. Wow.
That's nice. Listen,
Yeah, it's awesome. That's awesome.
really cool.
All right, we're down into the bottom again. Is anybody else coming in?
I feel like I need the go to 21, go to one of those.
What I want to know is like how many people are trying to buy droplets at the same time. So it's like, you're trying to like check out.
That's me. You're like 12 seconds left.
You're like, can I close this droplet transaction with 12 seconds left and make it back to bid?
I'm like, I really want to go buy something. There's another minute. Well, now I still won't have time.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Boom. All right. So that's awesome. So like, all right, I got the flash fund. Sweet.
Did you really?
I did. That's awesome. So I just got 12,000 droplets for participating in this auction. That is so dope. Amazing.
That's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
All right, that was really, really fun. So hats off to the whole team once again. That was really, really fun. Wow. All right. That's so good. I got the flash fund.
So how much did you put in? You put in 10,000.
My final bid was what was it? My final bid was 52,000, and then once it went over 100, I was kind of thinking I would go to 100, but
And what? So when you got what? 10,000 back?
I got I got 12,000 back. 12.
That's so, that's so cool, man. It couldn't go any. I feel like it couldn't go any better than that.
That could not have played out better than it just did. And just so you know, like one of the things that I love about what we're doing with DMC, and perhaps a couple other things we'll get to talk about soon, is like we've been doing this as collaborations, at least to start with. All of these drops on the DMC channel are collaborations with other Drip House artists. And we give all of the droplet revenue, half of the auction revenue, to those artists. So it's a fun way. I love the fact that it's like this direct way with Daryl's blessing and participation to be able to give something back, again, to people that are making really cool things for the channel.
You'll definitely have to post like a high res image of it somewhere. Like I definitely want to see that somewhere.
I mean, also go to your
Drip House.
I mean, it's already there. So if you go into the collection, it's already there. The winner's already got it. The cool thing with these auctions too is they're auto secured, so you don't have to do anything else. Once you get it, you got it.
Boy, I'm telling you that's nice.
It really is. I mean, let's talk about. I mean, we're here. Let's talk about DMC for a second. Like, what we're doing with DMC is building a whole story universe, and we had not planned on starting it this way, but once we got on Drip House and got to see what was possible here, it just felt so natural to do it this way. So the concept for the DMC universe is, if you ever heard of a movie called Sliding Doors, it's kind of that mashed up with a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse idea. And so one of the things that DMC likes to talk about, Daryl likes to talk about, is kind of an understanding of how fortunate he was to have gone through the various, to have become the person that he became, the influence that he has had on hip hop and culture and music, like to have gone through that journey. He's not at all ignorant of the fact that, yes, talent and willingness to put yourself out there and all those things play into it. But there are also a few very key moments, which I think we all have, where you can just almost feel like I went left instead of right. And if I had gone right, my life would have been entirely different. And, there's a moment that he talks about when they were literally going to the recording studio, when it wasn't Run DMC, it was Run. And then, Run's brother, Russell Simmons, who was, starting Def Jam and all of that. When they went to the studio, Daryl was not already in the band. Kind of Run wanted him to be. He knew that he was, talented and, could write great rhymes and, could tell stories and was this kind of next level as a writer in that regard. But they threw him in the booth and he had to essentially perform to become a member of the band, to become a member of the group. And it was in that performance where Russell was like, okay, you're in. And that's where, Run DMC was essentially formed. And so had he not gotten in the car that day and had he not been able to kind of talk himself into going in the booth and just throwing it all out there, he would not be the person and have the life that he has. And so I think talking to him about that and this concept, he loves comics, he loves pop culture. And so being able to take these concepts of if I had gone left versus right, not only could that be a different life in our kind of quote unquote reality, but in a story sense, that could be a different life in fantasy, in sci-fi, in superheroes, kind of as animal characters, kind of the sky's the limit with the fun that we can have with kind of DMC as the central character, but exploring different storylines and pocket universes and kind of this incredible amount of creative freedom to go, wherever that takes us. And so we're working on the kind of main series that is going to be in comic form and graphic novel form. We've got an idea around what we think an animated series looks like, which, I'm excited about kind of starting to put together, and all kinds of other stuff. But I think this ability to kind of give that concept to a batch of artists and just say, what does DMC mean to you through the lens of this concept, has just turned into this awesome body of work that is such a cool way to kind of introduce the concept of the kind of DMC multiverse, that I just could not be more delighted with how it's playing out. And I think as people see how that all feeds into this larger universe concept, there's going to be really be something exciting about this set of collaborations being the genesis for this really kind of next phase and chapter of DMC's career, which I just feel very privileged to be a part of.
Yeah, these, they're all phenomenal, and it's again, it's to me so cool to have other artists coming in and working on it, and again, just expanding that fan base from the artist to Run DMC or to DMC to from DMC to these other artists. You know what I mean? And then to take them and then they see the Macroverse banner and it just me, I just love building. I was talking to someone recently that's starting an NFT project, and I was telling him one of my favorite things to do is just build communities of good people and bring them all together. And I try to bring everyone to Macroverse, of course.
As the right move, 100%.
And that's, I think, my ultimate goal is to make it as big as possible. But I think Drip House, like you said, it's almost becoming a Drip House weekly event. But I mean, like I am such a fan of what they're doing and how it's bringing everything together. And it's really like it's been such a goal of mine to be able to expand and reach so many people, and it's been a lot harder than I thought it would be, really, to expand beyond the Web3 side of things. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what they're doing. I mean, it's still in Web3, but
Yeah.
I mean, it's not just Web3 comics. It's taking it to a fan base of every music.
Well, it's just, I mean, I say it, I'm sure I'll say it another 10 times. Is like, to me, it's the first thing I've seen that it makes sense for someone that's an Instagram user, for, someone that, has a Patreon, that's running Kickstarters, that is just trying to find a different way to connect with an audience. And the fact that, there's a collectible component in it, that, you can play the game at whatever level you want to play the game, that it kind of leans into, just like this, this auction mechanic. You don't have to participate in auctions to still collect and have a great time on Drip House.
Yeah.
But that was incredibly fun. and as you can see, honestly, you could come into every auction and throw down 10 droplets, and you might get lucky and win that flash flood.
So that was my point, I guess, in the beginning. Yep. We didn't really go into details, but I mean, you could come in with the intention of losing.
Yeah.
And if that thing goes to 2 million droplets and you win a percentage, like,
I mean, 200,000 droplets, whatever.
Hey, whatever.
Droplets. I mean,
to me, that's just
it's more.
It's so cool. It's so cool.
Yeah.
It's just like a whole nother raffle entry and then to watch you win it live.
I feel it's rigged, but I'll take it.
How awesome is that? Gosh, I was like, couldn't go any better.
We did not plan it, but I'll take it. Yeah.
But no, and I mean that's the thing. Like you said, I mean, I didn't participate, and that was extremely fun for me.
Yeah. I also have to say, like, I'm now playing both sides of the game. So, like, as a creator, putting stuff out that I feel really proud of and happy to bring to expose to a lot of other people. And I've been finding myself, really enjoying spending droplets on the creators that I resonate with their work. And so it feels really good to be able to say, like, I like this. Here's $5, here's $10, or damn, I really want to make sure I get that legendary this week. So I better make sure I'm in the top 20 on the leaderboard, or, whatever the various channel perks are. So it's
when do we get the Ebonverse channel?
I got something to say about that. I do not have. I've been struggling with, like, really trying to pitch that and get myself on there individually. I do not have the time right now to do enough work to make it make sense right now. So I've got another idea around how I can start to put some of my own work out there, which I do want to do. This is the alpha that you managed to get out of me so frequently. It is going to be where Macronauts starts to take shape in the kind of next iteration of that. And I have been continuing to work on that kind of behind the scenes. So there will be be more to talk about in that regard. We do have some other things that we're talking about, how to either launch there or integrate into the Macroverse channel. Over time, I would like to see the Macroverse channel be more and more of a launch pad, because we just have so many creators and series and people that honestly, like, just putting out stuff once a week is, I'm greedy. It's not enough for me and for the group of people that we want to see win and be successful with this. So I think it'll be a very intentional, strategic kind of rollout of how that happens. And of course, there's a lot of people that want to get on the platform. So, it's not like we can just go like, hey, give us 100 channels. We could fill them up. We definitely could. But, but I think, we want to really make sure that everything we put out is just absolutely top quality. I am very excited about this Sunday's Macroverse drop. I will say that this is something that I don't think anyone has seen, and I will spoil it for those watching and say it is Deadtown related. So we are essentially focusing. We're focusing the Macroverse channel right now on kind of 3 weeks of focus on a particular series or project. And so for the next handful of drops, they'll kind of be 3 weeks at a time living in a particular world. So this will be the first of 3 Deadtown focused drops. And I will just say this is one that I would, if you like Deadtown, so speaking very directly to our Macroverse community, to you, to anyone that's a Z holder. The thing we're going to put out on Sunday has not been seen yet, and I think it is going to be something people really like. I love it. So it's a cool way of exposing people to the world, the vibe, some of the main characters, which will then lead into a comic release and then something else as well. So. Excited about
like
that.
an additional comic release, like what you guys did with the Deadtown, the other episodes, or
No, I don't think this first one will be the anthologies. I think that will come, but
not the anthologies. What was the other one?
Breakout. Yeah. So there's a place for that as well. I mean, one of the things we're exploring on our end, and then we'll go back and have another conversation with Drip about it, is being able to integrate some of our tech in a couple of different ways. So I think there may be something coming down the road in that regard as well. But there's a bunch of steps between now and there. But I would love to see that happen. I think there's something cool there that we could do. So that was fun. Won some droplets. Thank you. And thank you and congratulations to the winning bidder as well. Let's see.
Who ended up winning that?
I got so excited with my own win there. Let's see.
I did too. I think I was excited for you.
Oh man, let's see.
The last I saw it was like the Big Boss or something.
It wasn't the Big Boss. I don't think that took it home. Let's see. This is one thing that I do wish, which I'm sure will get integrated at some point, is that it doesn't tell you who actually had this.
Won it.
So it tells you how many people have it, but there's not a way right now to say who is that person. And so it looks like at the moment,
I tried to stalk some people out on the first Ultimates and realized that.
Yeah, and at the moment, because the auction is now passed, it's not showing. So, so anyway, congratulations to the person that got it. I love that piece. I would have been very happy to have it, but I'm even more happy that you have it. Really appreciate everyone.
You came in a close second.
Not second. I was left behind, which was just fine.
Hey, but that second place didn't win anything.
Oh no, exactly. No,
you're second place winner.
Quite happy with that. Yes. So yeah, I mean, come play with us on Drip House. We've got some really fun perks. If you are kind of at the kind of higher end of the collectors on there, we've got some extra special perks, especially out on DMC right now. We've got some plans around that for Macroverse as well. But we've also just got a lot of fun stuff that we want people to be able to participate in, as we always say, at every level. So lots of fun to be had on the platform with us, and really what a phenomenal group of creators. I mean, as you mentioned earlier, I mean, visual artists, there's some animation going on there. There's a couple of other people making comics. There's a bunch of really talented musicians and people.
I was going to say, the stuff I've been getting musically, especially it takes me back to old NFT days, but the lo-fi,
It's a whole batch of lo-fi stuff, which I really love too.
I have been getting some of the coolest stuff.
Yeah.
And it's I've been low on droplets too. So it's I haven't been wanting to secure them in, and I have. There's been a few that I'm like,
Yeah, that's the other thing which really drives the experience, and I think in a good way of the it's the same. We've talked about this a bunch. It's like access versus ownership. And so when anyone has secured something, you can access it. You can go to that person's channel, you can listen to it, you can see it, you can read it. But if you want to own it, then you've got to secure it for yourself or find it on secondary. And both of those options exist with every single drop. So I think that's very cool.
So this is something I had in mind earlier when we were talking about outreach and stuff like that. This is just like my brain is how I work is with the job I've done. Can you see as a creator the analytics behind everything? Like how many have gone out, how many have been secured?
Yeah, so that was one of the things which I like. And here I'll share my screen again. So it's not analytics in the sense of like a dashboard where we can see, like a bunch of charts around interactions. I think that is something that will come. I know a creator studio, is coming down the road, which will be great. But what we can see, and this is something I actually look at quite a bit, is, if we go into this latest, Macroverse drop, these Darkland character cards, which I was also excited to put out here because this is something else we've had in our back pocket for quite a while and haven't found the right place for. As a side note, each of these cards actually has a back as well, so you can learn a little bit about some of these main characters. All of the characters featured in this first card set are also featured in the first episode, which was last week's drop, so you get that connection between the two, which I think is quite cool. I love this this illustration of Eve. Anyway, I got sidetracked there, loving my own stuff. But yes, you can see up at the top this little like icon of a person and then the number next to it. So, the way this works now is you can see that, we have 167,000 subscribers. And so the base piece goes out to all 167,000, or I think it was about 160 when this dropped.
Yeah.
And then we can see at this point over the past, 4 or 5 days, 3.5 thousand have been secured. So the number that shows here now is the number that have actually been, minted and brought on chain.
So 3.5 thousand, that's still to me a lot.
Oh yeah. So, you'd be looking at like, when you're thinking about traditional app metrics, 2% is kind of the gold standard for just about any kind of conversion. And so, that's kind of in that range. And then, if you look at the whole collection, there's 3.5 thousand of those, and then 900 of these, and then 66 of these. And so of course they get rarer as you go down in rarity. But then, comparing that to like Darkland episode 1, there were over 4,000 of the base secured, and then another 2.6 thousand rares, and then 500 legendaries and 101 ultimate. So it varies a little bit by drop, but I feel pretty good about the ratios, and I think over time, that will also grow. And then the other thing I look at, just kind of my own peek at how I think about all this stuff is, I do look at kind of what's happening on the secondary market. And to me, like, it's actually a really cool sign to see that both is there. This is looking at the DMC stuff again, but both is there a decent amount of, secondary market trading activity. But also like these feel very, again, like one of the things I love about this is it feels like it kind of brings the pricing into the range that I kind of honestly feel like it should be. Like these base pieces, if you missed it right now, you can go get this latest DMC drop, this base piece for a nickel, for 5 cents. If you missed the last base, it's 13 cents, and that's just because they're the most common pieces. And then I think quite appropriately, as you go up in the tiers of rarity, they start to get more expensive. So the cheapest, rare piece in the last drop is $16. And so, like to me, like this feels a lot like collecting comics, collecting cards, like anything else that I've ever collected over the course of my life.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. And I'm actually happier, but honestly, like I'm happier that it's in that range, that it's 5, 10, $20, for that rare tier, as opposed to it being 2,000. Like,
Well, yeah, because people can buy these and trade them, enjoy them.
People can buy them, they can trade them. You can do a little bit of speculation on like, I think this thing is going to get more valuable later, or I want this in my collection and I hope that it does. Like, I mean, you can do that without betting everything on it or feeling like you're, really doing something risky. And I think that's the real shift here for me when we talk about NFTs is, I'll tell on myself, like the only time I've ever done the wrong thing in my wallet is I totally FOMO'd into the Shepard Fairey Obey Giant drop. And I love Shepard Fairey. I knew him a little bit when I was at RISD. I love the whole Obey Giant, movement that he's created. I'm a huge fan of his work. And when that drop came out, I minted, a handful of pieces. And then I was just poking around on secondary market and I saw like the number 2 rarest piece in the collection the next day. And I'm like, oh man, it's like, I forgot what they minted at, but it was like $100 or something. And then, the next day on secondary, it was like the number 2 rarest piece in the collection. It's like 250 or something like that. So it was like 0.07 or whatever it was at the moment. And I just like rushed in and bought it. And then realized, after I had already signed the transaction and everything, that it wasn't 0.07, it was like 2.7. And that was when ETH was like, $3,000 or something. And so I was like, that was definitely a moment of like, oh yeah, you really can't reverse this. There's nobody to go talk to about like, oops.
Can I get a refund, please?
And so, that's one of those that now the market is down and it's not worth anywhere near that much, so it's like, there, and I think like that's the thing. It's like, having something that in 24 hours people think is worth, $10,000 or $20,000 just doesn't make any sense with the way that the world works with, the way that collectibles work in the real world. And so I think that's what I love about this is that, again, being someone that collected comics for years, Pokemon cards, Magic cards, like, all those kinds of things. Like this is that, the wall book in a particular comic would show up on the wall. And yes, next week, it's not $5, it's $30, but that was because it's, it is rarer and harder to get a hold of and there's a demand for it. But it's in that world of like, oh, I can get this for $30. Maybe 10 years from now, it's worth, 300,000 or, or more potentially. But it is that kind of mentality of like making this digital world make sense for the people that like to do those sorts of things. And I think that just, it changes the equation for people going like, do I want to participate in NFTs? Do I want to explore this new technology? Can I explore this new technology? Like, it just changes the dynamic. And I think to me, the right way.
I'll say, you said, 5 cents, 10 cents, $16 for rare, and speculation that people hope that it goes up. I would like to close out by saying, and this is not financial advice, everything associated with Macroverse will go up in price.
I'm not saying anything, but I'm very confident in what we're doing.
I'm pretty confident that things will take place. So especially when you look at a 5-cent NFT, yeah, I would say a couple of years from now, I'll be glad to have a big fat bag of Macroverse.
Well, and let's also say I appreciate that, and I'm not saying anything, and also not disagreeing. What I will also say is that I hope people, what I really want, like if I really got to wave my magic wand around this, is like, yeah, I bought a lot of comic books in the 90s that I was like, this is definitely going to be worth like hundreds of dollars or thousands of dollars. Most of them never got there. A handful of them did. So, it does happen. But I was not my primary reason for being a comics fan or a comics collector. I was first a fan and lover of the medium, and then got engaged in the game of collecting as part of that love, as opposed to the reverse. And I think that's the switch we really want to flip, is love it first, then collect it because you love it. Don't collect it and then hope that something happens with it. You don't really care about the thing itself.
Well, for sure. I think, for me, that was the big reason why I bought in so heavily. It wasn't for, obviously I was buying NFTs and I was like, hopefully these go up in value. I mean, that's what everybody wanted.
Yeah. That was the moment. Yes.
I think the quantity for me was participation. It 100% was, the more I get, the more roles I get, the more levels I get, the more openings I get, which in turn over the years has turned into character opportunities and storytelling and stuff like that, which is, again, just the coolest thing in the world. But when I say everything will go up in value, a lot of it right now, the value is so very minimal. I feel very confident in saying everything will go up in value.
I mean, if you're talking about compared to what it is right now, then yes, 100%.
So,
very funny.
Listen, I'm not saying anybody's going to get rich. I'm just saying I am a very, very confident man that if you were to get something right now to participate in this community, most likely it will be worth more money 2 years from now.
Still not financial advice, but yes, I cannot disagree with that. Well, that seems like a perfect place to wrap up for the evening. But again, just come and play. If you're not on Drip House right now, and you at any point, I'd say 2 categories. You're someone that's been in Web3 and NFTs for a little while, and you haven't yet started playing around with Drip House. You got to come play around with it. I think, I do like to say, like, it's making NFTs fun again. It's like there was a time when it was really fun being in this market, even with the high stakes and the insanity and the, crazy amounts of money that were being moved around. It was fun. It was exciting. It was new. We felt like we were a part of something. That vibe is absolutely present, with what's happening at Drip House. So, if you feel like it's gotten less fun, or you think NFTs are dying, or anything, come play and see a different perspective on it. If you're not currently in the NFT world and you've been skeptical, you don't know if it's for you, you feel like it's a scam, any of those sorts of conversations, also come check it out. This is the lowest risk, lowest stakes way to dip your toe in this water, and to genuinely ask the question, why are there a bunch of smart, creative, interesting people that think this is really cool? And are they right or are they not? So I think if you're in either of those camps, Drip House is an ideal starting point. I will recommend Macroverse as your first subscription.
I'll say it. And I want to follow up with that too. If anybody out there is not into the NFT side, and hey, you're here because you love comics, and you want to get into it and you don't know how, and you say, hey, Drip House, and you don't know what it is, you don't even know how to spell it, come to our Discord, ping me, go to the Twitter, anything, just ask and you shall receive. I'll give you I think I've had people come in and ask for invite codes, everything, I'll make wallet recommendations. I'll tell you how to get there, what to do, how to set up. It's it's just whatever you need. I think that's the cool thing about our communities. And even if I'm not there, someone else will be. Someone will be there.
I don't think you would mind me saying this. I spent an hour and a half on Saturday onboarding one of DMC's partners, who was Aerosmith's manager back in the day, and is actually directly responsible for putting Aerosmith and Run DMC together for Walk This Way. So we spent an hour and a half setting up a wallet, moving some money, moving some Soul from Coinbase into that wallet, getting him up on Drip House, getting him subscribed. He put his first bid in on a Mallow auction. Like we went through the whole thing of like, how are we, playing in this ecosystem? And he got it, man. Like he's been around been around the block. He knows the music industry inside and out. You're talking to him on Zoom. He's got, platinum records all behind him. Just incredible guy. Very, very smart. And keeps us on our toes with challenging our thinking around everything, which is also a very good thing. Make sure you have some of those people around you if you're trying to build anything. Side note. Just very fun. I mean, it's not hard to do, but it is something that, if you're brand new to it, find somebody that you trust that's in the space, or as Tiny said, we'll be happy to be that Sherpa for you. Come into the Macroverse community. We'll help you out. So I think with that, Tiny, unless you have any final words, let's wrap it up. I am going to say, I'm going to go work on some spreadsheets for exciting presentation that we're doing tomorrow with some news that you will not be able to get out of me, but I am very excited to be able to talk about in the coming weeks. This is another one of those things where I'll say, like, you won't have seen this one coming, but it will be very cool when it arrives. So let me leave
Coca-Cola bottles.
No. But that could happen. There's something we're working on where it's not outside the realm of possibility.
Energy drink. I'm telling you, I see it on everything. It's gonna come.
It's gonna come. Yeah. So with that, Tiny, thank you for hosting us. My final call to action is, find us in Discord, follow us on Twitter. I'm at Ebonverse personally, at Macroverse for the company. Our DMC Universe channel is actually called at Breakbeatverse. So breakbeat like what you would do in hip hop, and then verse like universe. And we've been posting,
or like a hip hop. It could be
exactly. I mean, there is a intentional pun there as well. And definitely come follow along, see what we're working on, find your place to participate. And we'll have a lot more to talk about over the next few weeks as some exciting things fall into place. So, yes, that's it. Everybody have a wonderful night. Tiny, thank you. And
thank you.
Take us out. Bye.